Greetings, my fellow creators and creations of the Almighty Most High. I am Karma, and welcome to the Truth Booth. What is meditation? Now, this has been debated for ever, like since the beginning of time, probably since the very first person meditated intentionally. But there's a short answer to this, and there's also the long, drawn out answer. And I'm sure that you can assume which one I'm going to start with because we're in the Truth Booth. This is the spot where you get unfiltered truth. And if you don't like it, don't diss it, just dismiss it as you go. So, meditation can be defined as so many different things. There's a lot of things that we say to overcomplicate the concept of meditation. I would say that's the biggest misconception about meditation itself is that it's this complicated thing that you have to like try so hard to do. Another misconception is that you have to do it right or you do it wrong. Another misconception is that you have to stop thinking, you have to think about nothing. But you can't do that. There is no thinking about nothing. You can't not think. We are human beings. There is never a point in time, not for 1 second, that you can stop thinking. You have to think all the time. Our thoughts are constantly happening. And to think about not thinking defeats the purpose of meditation. Okay? That means you feel like there's something that you need to do to not think. And that's not possible. The thoughts are still going to happen, and they're probably going to happen more intense, more rapidly, if you try to not think. Emptying your mind, quieting your thoughts. That's not it either. That is not meditation. Because it's not possible. People could say like, "Oh yeah, I quiet my mind and I did it." No, you don't. No, you don't. When you quiet your mind, you're thinking about something. Because we're always thinking about something. When you meditate, there's no right or wrong way to do this. And I feel like that right there is the hardest part, is for you to believe that there's no wrong way to do it. So a lot of people see these gurus and spiritual masters. They write books and articles and they say all of these things to explain what meditation is. And we all meditate. It's something that we all innately know how to do. And it's something that our bodies do without us even realizing it. If you haven't ever done it deliberately, you've definitely done it on accident. When people say like, "Oh, I just daydreamed," you're meditating. Your body is forcing yourself into a meditative state. That happens to everyone just simply because the brain know it needs it. And at the end of the day, the brain is the control center of the body. So we slip into these states of mind, whether we know it or not, in order for the brain to repair itself over time. So basically, like when you sit down to meditate, the reason you can call it meditation is because you are making a deliberate choice to sit down and do so. That doesn't mean you've never meditated before, because you have. You just didn't know that you were meditating. Some of you have been meditating ever since you were children. In fact, you meditate quite a bit when you're a child, starting when you're just a little baby. Actually, when you're a baby, you're in a meditative state most of the time. Like that's our home, is to be in that state where you're just being, which is what meditation actually is. It's just being. It's not thinking. It's not feeling. It's not a lot of things that people think it is. And I feel like that's why a lot of people kind of run away from meditating, or they just decide not to sit down and do it, or they think that they have to have their legs crossed with the meditative hands in order to like do it, and that doesn't feel good. That don't feel right. That don't feel natural to a lot of people. You don't have to do all that. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, you could just sit your ass down and just sit down to meditate. Just know that that's what you are going for when you sit down. Saying that I want to meditate even is uncomfortable for some people because you may not relate to people, places, and things that you may see that's a part of the spiritual, quote unquote, spiritual community. Whatever the case may be, you're here because you want to know what meditation is. And you don't have to connect yourself to any aesthetic or language or anything to meditate. But whether you feel like it's hard or easy is pretty much up to you. When you sit down and you just allow your brain to do its thing and not attach yourself to the feelings that are triggered from what your brain is doing, that's what meditation is. I'm going to say it one more time more clearly. Sitting down and just letting your brain do what it do without attaching to any emotions that happen. That's meditating. Just being. Just allowing your brain to be your brain. Not trying to control it. Not trying to slow it down. Not trying to do anything. Because your brain going to do what it do. Thoughts are going to happen. When you can think any thought that your brain thinks and not classify an emotion to attach to that thought. That's the long answer. Well, that's the short answer, I guess. I use the long answer to come to the short answer. So yeah, meditation is something that you do deliberately. That's why it's called meditating. It's a practice. It's something that you need to go into with intention. But do we meditate indirectly, unawareingly? I don't know if unawareingly is a word, but we know what that is. We know what that is. Yes, the answer is yes to that. The body doesn't care if you're doing it intentionally or not. It just needs it from time to time. When you take time out of your day deliberately to sit down and say, I'm about to meditate, or just sit down and be like, I'm about to do my thing, or I'm about to call it whatever you want. You don't have to call it meditating, okay? When you allow your brain and body to be in a state where you're just being without anything else happening. It's just being. That's the short answer. Meditating is just being. Meditation is for you. Even if you don't resonate to all the spiritual stuff, it's essential. And it's more important for our bodies now than ever, I would say, with all of the stimulation that we are constantly navigating through, that we are constantly being approached with. The devices, the screens, the LEDs, you feel me? Just all this stimulation happening all the time. It's very important to shut all that off and just allow yourself to be. The only goal you need to have while meditating is just to sit there. That's it. Whatever else happens is going to happen. Agree that it is okay. Whatever your brain says or does, it's okay. Do not take any thoughts or emotions you may have personal. Your thoughts should be looked at as like a movie reel that you can't really control unless you want to. And in the process of trying to control that, you're disturbing your meditation. So you should just allow that movie reel to whiz on by, and you will realize that it'll slow down by itself. If you feel emotion happening from any of the scenes that you see in your head or the things that you hear in your thoughts, don't think that you're doing it wrong because your emotional body is responding to your thoughts. That doesn't mean you're meditating wrong. That just means you're human and you may be still dealing with whatever you're thinking about. Whatever you're thinking about is something that wants to come to surface to be addressed. Your body is telling you, there's a connection here. This impacts you in some way or another. But it doesn't have to be anything more than that. You can analyze your thoughts when you meditate. You can dwell on your thoughts if you need to, but let go of any boundary, any effort to regulate your thinking. Release that. and just let your brain be what it is and be okay with that. Now you can set up your room to be an environment that would be easier for you to do this. Turn on music or no music, light candles or no candles, whatever you need to do to be relaxed. Put on your favorite fuzzy slippers. There's no right or wrong way. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's what meditation is about. If you're not hurting nothing, there is no right or wrong way to be. Thank you for listening. And that's all I got from the Truth Booth for now.